All right, everyone, we're going to be starting the episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wait, no. We need to do the intro bit.
Did I literally just do that?
Yeah.
That is the funniest shit. Okay. All right, welcome, everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Hibike Euphonium, Season 2, Episode 8.
Things are dire. Asuka has quit the club, but...
Yes.
It was, you know, going around Taki to the other lady, and
it was with the
lady,
mom.
and then it was with the mom, and you know, Asuka didn't actually say that she wanted to quit. She very much wants to stay, but there was a talk that happened off screen in private, and then she stopped showing up.
Yeah, and then they had a performance out in public with one of the other teams that is like one of the good ones out there.
Yep,
and she showed up. And the president brought her music along. She
had it all ready.
Wholesome.
Yep.
But what does this mean for nationals?
Because it's kind of a problem, and apparently there seems to be some additional reason as for why the mom hates the fact that Asuka is a musician. So there's that. And then on top of it, there's the whole situation with Kumiko's family and the whole parallel story with her sister, because it's definitely not similar at all in tone or theme or anything.
Definitely not. Definitely not at all. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this.
So do you think the resolution of Asuka's situation with her mom, Kumiko's sister's situation with the family, will be... Which one will be resolved first, or do you think they'll be resolved right around the same time? Because, like...
I don't know.
I feel like one of them getting solved, or at least the problems from one of them, could... give Kumiko some information to help her.
Yeah, I don't think Kumiko's going to be involved directly, though, with the Asuka situation with the family. I think it's more just going to be, like, just talking to Asuka maybe every once in a while.
Same. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Because Asuka is the one that eventually will have to actually fix this. No one else can for her. Ooh.
Yeah, I know. But there's those kinds of moments and stuff that, that make me hopeful about it, you know? Although that group of 4 walking under the bridge, that's the one thing that makes me, like,
Taki flashback.
Really excited to see if that actually is a Taki flashback, Oh, baby Kumiko.
Oh.
Oh. Cool. Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
He's so adorable.
Yeah. Rhapsody of a Cold.
Oh. Wow. Oh shit. Yeah. Spit that fire. And this is her decision now. So what's the big deal? Wow.
Oh, they're paying for tuition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Just? What just?
Wow.
Okay.
All right, so that's the situation.
Yep.
They're paying for tuition. Yeah. Oh!
Takes out the frustration on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey. You didn't see it in her eye. Yes, I do the same thing. Oh my god.
Wow. The rumor mill of middle-aged ladies.
Yep. Whoa.
You are.
You are. Alright. Let's talk. Yeah.
やめないですよね。やめない。
Yeah, I was gonna say, she literally was going to say whatever her sister said before, the sewing your mouth shut thing, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely take her up on this.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow.
Uh-huh. This is the only in she's probably gonna give you.
Yeah.
Well, and if there's a serious conversation they need to have youth player to youth player, you know.
I love that they have this perspective, but...
I wonder why.
Oh, a cold? Does Kumiko have a cold?
Yeah.
Rhapsody have a cold? Immediately.
Yeah, she's got to play with more oomph. That's the problem. All right. That congested nose.
Yeah, yeah. And she did the whole, like, sneeze with the mouth shut.
Uh-huh.
Which is like... Like... Oh! Ah! Yep, definitely. Yep, yep. Dame. Wait, shouldn't she clean it, though? Because it's contaminated?
Sure, it's probably fine.
Oh, wow.
All right.
It's been a while since I've seen you.
Yeah.
Right? Remember season 1?
Yeah.
Hey, look, they're practicing social distancing. Yeah, she never does that.
Yeah. Parent, more like.
Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, this is bad then.
Yeah.
Asuka taking time off from the club.
Yep. I'm sure she does.
Mm-hmm. And she doesn't want to bring her foolishness into everyone else's life, and yet that's what she's doing.
Yes.
Oh. I thought she was gonna say something like that she's willing to maybe rely on you, Kumiko.
Oh, sure.
But no, that's really sweet. Oh. I mean, because Aoi had to juggle club and other stuff and chose, not the club. So it's like,
Right.
Maybe those words that Asuka passed along to her back then are now something she's like, yeah, how's it like? Yeah. That little hidden coldness. That's right, Nakagawa.
Hey.
Good. Oh.
But she wasn't able to.
Let's get into this, yeah.
Oh, they have a ton of trombone players already. Aww.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh, come on, my heart.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh, I love family shit like this.
Yep. Wait. Oh, really? Oh,
Hey.
that's awesome.
Hey.
なんで来たの？お見舞い。
Oh.
ありがとう。これは川島さんから。
Aw.
加藤さん。
Oh, okay.
これ普通のプリンが食べたかったんだよ。持ってたね。嬉しい。ちょうど聞こうと思ってたんだよね。アスカ先輩の音に似てるかも。
Oh,
やっぱり？私も思った。
sad.
お客さん？
We don't know
悪
what.
いんだけど CD 止めてくれない？どうして聞きたくないの？だったら。
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
だったら続けたかったなんて言わないでよ。吹奏楽嫌いなんでしょ。お父さんとお母さんに学費もアパートの家賃も出してもらって大学行ってるんだろ。なのに我慢してたの。うるさい。あんたに私の気持ちなんてわかるわけない。
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I like it. She was more confident probably because Reina was there, you know?
Sure.
Felt a little bit stronger.
週一？
どうもご無沙汰してます。
背伸びたね。
マミコさん、俺たちの演奏を聞きに来てくれたことありました。
Oh.
なんで？
一度聞いてほしいなって思って。
Hmm.
でも
Hmm.
久美子
Yeah.
一度くらいマミコさんに聞いてもらいたいんじゃないかって。ほら、あいつマミコさんに憧れて吹奏楽を始めた。
私に。
いつも言ってませんでしたっけ？
ちょっとだけうるさいからダメ。
She never got the chance once?
吹いてくれるの？
So she just got to watch her play, but never actually like play with her.
Oh, damn.
God, that just looks so real. Just
CD ない？あんたが吹いてるやつ。
皆さんにお話があります。
Yes.
田中さんが今週末までに部活を続けていくことのできる活
She's
動
out,
が得られなかった場合、全国大会の本番
oh
は
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the discussion. She's already out, but it's just the, you know, she can't just keep showing up like
Right.
this. She can't keep half-assing it, basically.
Now-
Nakagawa is not a replacement though for Asuka.
No, she is not.
Asuka's like in love with the youth.
But it goes to show that basically
Okay.
Taki believes that it would be better to have Nakagawa also play so that there's two and have it not just be Kumiko, even though Nakagawa wasn't considered good enough to play before.
Yeah.
Now, she might have gotten better, but basically...
But is she nationals ready?
Right. It's not the same situation as it was at the end of season 1,
Right.
where for the Tokyo competition, Kumiko didn't play the tough part. Now, granted, it was just for like the one really tough part, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, turned away from the music book. Oh, and the youth left
Leftover
on the...
youth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Ooh. And this imagery of her being sort of in the field, now, not alone because her friends are there, but it feels like a happier version of when she saw Asuka playing by herself.
Oh, gotcha. Huh.
Family focus.
Yeah.
Okay.
God, this came really close to getting me to cry because
Yeah.
there were multiple moments in the Kumiko family situation where I was just like, oh, that's too real. And I really like this because this is one where I don't wholly hate the parents now.
Yeah, it's
There's an aspect of this that is very. They're bludgeoning tools right now. They're not being very sensitive, but they are doing something that I would find believable.
Right. The situation with them is one where I consider them to be definitely, partly at fault, but the things that they're saying aren't wrong, but it shows that they very much are not deciding to learn their lessons.
Well, right. Because that's not what they believe is important here.
Right, exactly.
Right. So I'm just saying that
Their concern is not about their daughter.
No, Jacob. What I'm I'm bringing up here is just that the characters of the parents are believable,
right?
Not whether or not they're right or wrong.
Oh, totally.
That's arbitrary, really. What they're doing is hurting their daughter,
right?
And the daughter and what she's doing is hurting all of them,
right? Yes.
Now that's the point that can be brought up here, is that because there's hurt being passed around, and there's no communication or understanding here fully being accepted, passed along, received, the daughter is in this really uncomfortable situation.
Right. And now the thing that we got that was a positive bit of progress, basically, is that as a result of Shuichi,
yes,
she got a better understanding of her sister and how she caused harm to her sister, because
so she can start building that back up again.
Because the whole situation with the parents, that's another enchilada,
and
right?
It's also years old. Like
yes, exactly. Yeah, it goes really deep,
back.
and there are specific obstacles that will be very difficult to get past, right?
Yeah, the fact that the mom will say, like, hey, Kumiko, don't tell anyone about this.
Right.
But also I'm going to gossip about it too.
Right.
Others.
Oh, I'm not going to... Right, exactly. Yeah, because...
So full of shit.
So full of shit.
Yeah,
and then also, this is the one that pissed me off. I'm not going to make you move out, just what?
Just what?
So if you're not going to make her move out, that means you're going to actually stand up to your husband, right? That's what that means, right?
No.
You're prepared to do that, right? Yeah.
No.
So, yeah, but
in a weird way, the fact that the father's communication was so straightforward and to the point, I actually respect him more than the mom.
Oh yeah, right. It's the whole thing of this is an extreme example because it isn't this, but if you're ever in a situation that's abusive, you don't actually get as mad at the abuser as you do at the person who sits by and lets it happen, right? Because
or pretends to be like your friend.
Right, exactly, but doesn't actually like stand up for you, right? The fact that also the mom said that after the father left.
Yeah.
You know, it's like yo,
yeah, you're full of shit.
You are full of shit.
Yeah.
Right.
The father's thing of where, I'm paying for the, like, I understand hey, I'm paying for your living expenses here. Like, that feels like a very just gracious, like, helpful thing.
Yeah.
Just in general. But the tuition side of things, and that she's paying for probably none of it.
Right.
That is where there was probably some agreement made with them back when. And now she's basically saying, like, I'm going to divert from that.
Right.
And you should let her do that.
Yep.
And yet that is a very reasonable thing of, okay, I'm not going to pay for your housing expenses here. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And it is a reasonable concern because it's a situation where money gets involved with family, and then that gets complicated. That gets all kinds of complicated.
Yeah.
But you were a stupid dipshit idiot for not actually having a true conversation with her about the responsibility of what you paying for her education actually means.
Well, that's something where we don't know. We don't know. That could have happened off screen.
Sure, but if it was a conversation, it wasn't. We can assume based on how the conflict is now that it wasn't actually a conversation so much as it was a monologue from him to her if it did happen.
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
Exactly.
So moving on from that, the main point was that the parents are believable.
The parents are believable.
Yes.
And then the conflict with Kumiko that was a result of Mamiko basically lashing out as a result of her frustrations that she wasn't brave enough to like actually come into conflict with her parents over. She then takes it out on Kumiko. It damages the relationship, and then they don't talk at all.
Yep.
Now she realizes, oh, shit. Okay, I messed up, right?
At the very least, she can have a relationship with her sister, regardless of how things are going with her parents.
Exactly.
And this is something where you can definitely see the immaturity of Mamiko being brought into this here. Is that her issue is that she's only thinking about herself. And so in a weird, indirect way, her father is right, but it's not what she's doing there that's selfish. It's that she is basically deciding for herself, finally. And then when she goes and interacts with her sister, every single interaction is based around some kind of anti-wind music kind of just thing.
Yeah.
And it really, really,
It's nasty. It's all kinds of bad.
It's petty.
Oh yeah, super petty, right?
Super petty.
Well, it's the outlet of her needing to actually have some agency in her life. So as a result of that, it's within the one instance where she knows that her sister isn't confident enough to actually talk back. Like not really,
Yeah, not
right?
really.
So that happens, and
She
then
finally did this episode.
she finally did, and I love that, right? Whether it was because of the fact that she was sick and she was just didn't have the patience for it. Raina was there, so she had the extra confidence.
She's had enough of this.
She's had enough of this, or even the fact that she's seeing a similar thing happening with Asuka, and she's like, you know what, I'm done.
I'm done, yeah.
Like who knows? But it happened. It's wonderful, and the fact that Shuichi doesn't do a lot in the show in general, like he's there and it's and it's like, okay, yeah, poor guy, like my heart goes out to him, right? But this was really cool because that was something where his own worry about Kumiko, right? He comes to check on her,
here,
right? Yeah, exactly. And then of course he sees the sister, and because he's the childhood friend, they have that history, and then he's like, oh, well, didn't you know? Like she was playing because she wanted to be like you. Yeah. She wanted to play with you. And then the pieces fall together. Yeah. Hasn't she told you?
Yeah.
And I love that hasn't she told you, because one of the parents' things that they were talking about is, why didn't you tell us?
Yeah.
And what did she say? Well, you made it very difficult for me to actually tell you.
Which is funny, because then over the course of Kumiko's little flashbacks that we got of her kind of thinking back on it, you made it very difficult to bring it up, Mamiko.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So here we are. But I love this because this means that since the problem has reared its ugly head, right? And there's the conversations have started to happen, even if they are conversations that could cause people to split and go separate ways. That means that there's actually something to attack and work on, right?
There is.
And that's and hey, Mamiko, yeah, if you don't want to like deal with your parents right now, totally get it.
Get it.
Kumiko, if you get your relationship with your sister back as a result of this, then won't it all be worth it?
Maybe. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But
it's really exciting, too, because if this is something based around primarily the idea of communication, like, why didn't you say something,
Yeah.
There's a lot of instances, I think, in our lives where we can look back on situations where we were really close to just blurting the thing out that we wanted to say, and then we regret forever that we just didn't do it, because we don't really care in the end about what the response was. It was something that felt really good to make sure the other person got, that they understood that this is what I was wanting to say to you, what I wanted to communicate, what I wanted to make you at least feel what I'm feeling.
Right.
And there's so many iterations of that I think we've all had, but the one of the approach to your hero. Let's take this out of the family dynamic here for a second. Reina very much is in love with Taki.
Yes.
Taki is in a lot of ways her hero, if you will, right now.
Sure. Yeah.
She has wanted constantly since this show began to just go up and tell him. But it doesn't make sense to. There's a lot of issues with that.
A lot.
But I'll bet you anything that in 10 years, if she doesn't ever say anything, she's gonna be like,
exactly.
beating herself over the head, like, why didn't I just say something? Because in the end, it doesn't matter how the other person responds. It's the fact that you said it. And this is the part that I really, like, my heart goes out to Kumiko, is that she was so young. She was at minimum 4th grade. But I'm going to guess that
was when she started actually being able to play an instrument.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to guess that around 9 or 10 years old, let's say, maybe 11. Let's go in that kind of range there.
Okay.
Because she's at the very least
for what?
For when she was going up to her sister constantly and being like, "Hey, let's
play.
Yeah, let's play." And she kept trying. She kept trying.
I'll bet that would have happened almost as soon as she figured out how to make noise.
Once she was able to take the instrument home, is my guess.
Yeah.
Because I think at the very least they made a point about how it was I can back and bring it home. Like that's a big
Yeah,
deal. Like,
right. I feel like that might have been something that would have happened from the beginning. Not sure, but yeah, who knows? Right, but
right. I would just assume that they would want her to know how to play it correctly before they just give her free, use of it. So they give her the thing first,
Right. Yeah.
But whatever. But point is that she Mamiko immediately looks back and sees all those moments, and they all just click into place. Yeah.
And by the way, I gotta say that this is actually one of the things that could potentially be seen as unrealistic, because people never remember what you do. They sometimes remember what you say, and they always remember how you made them feel. Well, the thing is that those memories for Mamiko didn't mean anything to her, right? It was just that there was no, it wasn't a big deal that her sister was asking her to play, right? It was just, oh, no, it's not a good time that, we'd wake the neighbors or things like that, right? Always some reason. And for her, it's just a casual thing, right? Whereas for Kumiko, it's this huge rejection, right? It's, oh, my sister doesn't want to play with me, right? The fact that she remembered that had been a thing, one, awesome. That helps a lot as far as where the relationship will go from here on out, right? Because then she can understand the history behind why their relationship fell apart, right?
Yeah.
But also, that communicates to me that while we only saw 1 or 2 instances of that happening, it probably happened constantly, so much so that it was annoying.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And that's why she remembers it. Not because she had any, because eventually she did have an emotional response to it, right? And it was probably a negative one, right? Because otherwise, if your little sibling, asks you something one random time, like 15 years ago or 10 years ago, you're not going to remember that. You're not going to remember that.
Not really.
But if they keep pestering you about it, you'll remember.
Yep. As an oldest sibling, one of the most annoying things about having the oldest sibling title thing is that there's going to be one or more of the younger siblings, depending on how many you have. I had, at one point, a lot because of foster brothers. But they always come up to you with basically the, hey, you're my hero, and please, look at this thing that I want to do, and give me approval.
Right. It's asking of you.
Yeah, it is asking of you. And it's very easy to do both, basically. To either just go over and be like, yeah. And you just affirm them, and it's just, it makes their day.
The littlest thing that you do is, gold to them.
Right. Or just to say no and crush them.
Stop bugging me.
And what I had was where I basically was... it was very, very I don't even want to say introverted because it's just not accurate, But when I was younger, I very much was oversensitized. Basically, I was constantly overly stimulated by all this activity that was happening, and so I would beg basically for opportunity to just be alone.
Okay.
And I remember multiple times where I would have a situation where I just wanted to just sit outside or in a room or just nothing, because there'd be so much noise and chaos and stuff. I remember multiple times.
Household.
Yeah, I remember multiple times. One of the brothers would just knock on the door every once in a while and be like, "Hey, Caleb." I'm like, "Hey," and then he'd just go away. 10 minutes later, "Hey, Caleb." "Oh, hey."
Yeah.
Okay.
And to help paint a picture of how rare those moments really were. The very concept of having your own room or anything like that was a fantasy.
Yeah.
Like that was.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, it wasn't that it was your room. It was just that it's like, oh, Caleb's just chilling in the closet with a light and a book right now.
Right, exactly.
Please give him some space.
For a large portion of my time growing up, I shared a room with Caleb and then 2 of our other brothers, and it was a double bunk bed. Yeah, that was
a
bit later.
Yeah, that was not that much time though. You always shared a room with someone though.
Yeah, yes, always with at least one other person.
And it was either me or it was one of our foster brothers.
Right.
Yeah.
But
at minimum.
Yeah, minimum. Right. But
there was a point where there were 4 of us.
3
in
plus
one room,
was not uncommon.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, oh man, but sibling dynamics and growing up, fun stuff. Fun stuff. And the things that, when you're a little kid, right? You don't know what kind of impact your words or actions have and things like that. Like beyond like the physical stuff. I feel like if I hit my sibling, right, that's all right. I probably shouldn't do that, But like, emotional needs, like,
yeah. This is the area where, in a lot of ways, having just so many siblings and stuff made it to where we all kind of mini traumatized each other in a funny way, but yet we all really very much became like this mob of fun and just chaos. So I very much remember the moments where I basically scorned the youngest sibling or the younger siblings in ways, and in a lot of ways I think there were points where I remember picking you, Jacob, because you were the oldest brother. Right. So I actually
I had to work my ass off to get there.
Well, right. But no, you also were just born the oldest brother.
Yes, so that helped.
That helped. Yeah. But then I remember younger brothers getting ignored because I basically wouldn't have as much fun with them. Like, they weren't able to follow a lot of the things
if they're
that we
7
were
years
doing.
younger than you or more, you know, it's like, all right, you're 10, they're 3,
right. Or you're 17, they're 10.
Right.
Yeah, that I remember was a big deal because when I moved out, there was this like huge moment where the one that was around that age, I believe he would have been 7 years younger. Yeah, it was like breaking his heart, just the idea that I wouldn't be around, and I was just like I wish I had like done more just to cultivate that. But it's crazy being in a sibling dynamic where you're the younger or the older one basically, and there's so much kind of expected.
Sure.
And it's really not until you get to be adults and mature with communication and stuff like that that you realize how imperfect everything is.
Yes.
And how little your ideals of how something could be or would have been just really don't mean anything. And then the relationship in some ways kind of gets built like all on top of that other stuff, that happened.
Right.
And there's something really like special about that, being able to keep building, beyond that.
Yes, right. So if they're right, the healing up the hurt, the idea that like
that's a much more okay, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that there's the positive sides of it, right? Where if you've got a great relationship with the person, then awesome. But I think one of the not hardest lessons, but one of the lessons that I was the most like, I'm so thankful I now know this, is the idea that just because you're family with somebody doesn't mean you actually have to be friends with that person.
That's true.
And because it's so easy to kind of take that for granted, right? Just assume that that'll be the case. But it's not always the case, right? In this show, bad parental relationships aside, slapping and all that stuff, right? Kumiko and Mamiko, right?
Yeah.
They could have been thick as thieves, right? But they weren't. In fact, they never really talked, and every interaction that they had was antagonistic in some form or other, right? But as a result of, a chance comment, right? Maybe, just maybe, that will start to change.
Yeah. This situation that the show presents us with is much more of one like you're talking about, where it's the healing up the hurt, where they need to shore it up, basically. There's been a sandcastle built upon the beach that, because the tide was low, you thought you could get away with building an eternal sandcastle.
Right.
But tides change and times change and seasons change. Yeah.
Yeah.
That castle's been long gone for a while now, and someone keeps coming back to see if you're going to build some more on it, you know, or build it with you. But
Sure.
no, you just don't have time for it. So
And
okay,
because I feel like the big positive with family is that, or it can be the positive, is the idea that you're kind of stuck with each other, you know? So it's like, okay, whenever the thing passes or whatever, whenever you get over yourself or they get over themselves or whatever, then you patch things up, right? Because you're family, right? So so just get over it and do it, right?
Right.
But there can be points where schisms come, especially once the people start to become independent enough that they're like, I'm going to live my own life and all that.
Yep.
That things like with the dad here saying you're going to move out, it's like that's like, and I know believable does not mean in the right or anything, right?
Yeah,
but
or wrong. Yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But oh boy,
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of families in this situation where it's a very big deal that the parents like built their lives around saving up the money specifically towards getting their firstborn to school.
To do, yeah.
And this is something that I think
Especially
maybe
in the US.
right. I think this is maybe something that we can both kind of have unique perspectives on here because there is and I had great parenting for you know, if we looked at parenting as a spectrum,
yeah,
I'm very much in like I got very much some of the best parenting there is out there. But I remember in situations when firstborns, we would have those kind of awkward conversations about, so, like, what are the things that everyone just kind of has all those high expectations of you and you can't meet? Now, we didn't speak in those, like, mature, like, terms and what have you. But my favorite one to, like, attack, like, I would be a bit subversive, and I in some ways I think there are some parents that if they knew what I was influential in, they probably wouldn't like me.
Yes, definitely.
Because I think
I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
So one of the things that
our rebel phases were weird.
Yeah. I kind of subversively tore down bad parents by being an older brother to other people that were not family. And one of them was that there was a kid, I want to say he was like...
What, around my age or?
No. I want to say he was around 11 years younger than me.
Gotcha.
Like he was a lot younger.
Whoa.
And he was being pushed into soccer. Like, I mean, pushed hard into soccer. And he really didn't want to.
Gotcha.
He didn't want to. And the part that frustrated him was that his parents then asked him, then what do you want to do? And he just didn't know. And he was scared because he was like, I don't know. Right. And I think I was around, like, 23 or 24 or something, because he was, like, hitting that, like, I can start taking this seriously because I'm, you know, becoming a teenager and stuff. And I was just like, hey, buddy, like, I still don't know what I want to do. And he was just like, what?
But you're...
What?
You're an adult.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
a grown-up. Yeah.
And I was just like, you can take all the time you need to figure it out. And I think in a lot of ways, if you just say that to your parents, you know, they'll probably respect it. Because they can't really make you play soccer, right? And he's like, they can, kinda. I'm like, no, not really. Like, you know, you can just be like, okay, I'm at soccer practice. You just not play. And I'm like instilling like the go kid. And the kid was just like, yeah, you're right. So apparently, over the course of like a couple weeks, he just kept telling his parents that they gave up on pushing him to play soccer. I think he ended up actually dabbling in music for a while. It was one of those things where he ended up choosing it of his own will, and then he just was like, no, I actually don't want to do music either. But it's been a long time since then. But it's just one of those things where there are times when I feel like parents will push the oldest one specifically.
And she brought that up. Mamiko brought that up.
Yeah, because I'm the oldest.
Because I'm the oldest and all that. Like, which is, again, just showing where the resentment builds up for Kumiko, because she feels like Kumiko doesn't have to put up with this because she's not the oldest.
Right,
you know?
right.
Oh,
and there's other things that are really insidious as well. And some of them I saw even in our own sibling dynamics, where you would have things being praised for me because I was the one to do it first.
Gotcha.
Which makes sense because I'm the oldest, right?
Right, so yeah, if you do something new, then encourage it.
Right. But then the kids that are younger see the praise that I got for doing that thing and go, well, wait a minute. I've never seen you praise that kind of thing before, so if I, as the other sibling, do that exact same thing, well, I get the praise, and then they don't. And it's not because the parents just don't like it or whatever.
Yeah.
They just forget. They just don't draw attention to it.
Growing up,
it's so weird.
There were points where I was horrified when I would see some of the things that other parents would do that friends of mine that was normal for them, right? And I would be like, holy, holy cow, me with my sheltered self, like, what? That's awful, right? But there were also things that I didn't understand this back then that, this is a lot tougher to single out, I feel like, but lack of positive reinforcement when positive reinforcement is something that you have easy access to, and you can get like a lot of it, or even potentially, like, I don't know if you could even say too much, but right,
yeah.
but
you technically probably could, but
what would that even
look like?
That's the spoiled brat kind of a thing, right? But then the punishment that can feel very cruel when all of a sudden that thing isn't there, right, and it's like, what did I do wrong, but. Yeah. Oh boy, I love family dynamics and getting into them in stories, because there's so much stuff there that I feel like just isn't often gotten into, and that's the kind of things where it's like people need to see this stuff so that way they can know, like, I feel like it's the equivalent of like the little life lessons that'll be in like children's programs, but like more mature life lessons for older people, where it's like, okay. Yeah. Here's something you might not have thought of, how to deal with this wacky, crazy situation or whatever, so.
So, episode was crazy good.
Yep.
But also, the Asuka situation is going to be one where she will not play in Nationals if she does not come back to start playing regularly in practice over the weekend.
Totally makes sense.
Shuichi's stuff will end up helping potentially in some way with Mamiko wanting to find a CD of them playing, which means that maybe she'll have to go and grab one from Taki, and that could lead to Mamiko like actually going to the school to pick one up or something.
Yeah.
But either way, the wholesomeness of everyone kind of coming around Kumiko when she's sick, ending up being, something where she gets these opportunities to hang out with Reina.
And again, it's a potential bit of ammunition that Kumiko could give to Asuka of like, hey, you say you're not going to cause trouble, but one, you've already been causing trouble. When she has I'm really excited for the tutoring,
Yeah.
because that felt like an offering from Asuka.
It was like very much one.
Yeah. But then also the whole idea of, Nakagawa can't play at nationals level. I'm the only other youth.
And in a lot of ways, even Kumiko's not fully ready.
I definitely can't play at nationals level all by myself.
Well,
right? Taki won't even let that happen, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
right. Yeah, I think that Kumiko is ready for nationals, but they're not ready for taking the gold and winning nationals.
Right.
With maybe just Kumiko.
And they need 2 youth players. Like that's something that Kumiko, like just performing at nationals and trying to be competitive, that's something that she's not familiar with. This is new territory for all of them. But doing that and not having another youth player, that's taking it to another level. So
last little comment thing here. When Kumiko calls out her sister and basically says, then don't say that. After all this time, it's not fair to say you wanted to continue. Now, the realization that she's willing to say this to her sister, right? The reason I think that makes sense here, and it just kind of follows, is that, well, the reason why she hates wind music is because it reminds her of what she had to give up.
Yep.
Now, From the sister's perspective, she chose this. From Kumiko's perspective,
from Kumiko's
Mamiko
perspective, yes.
chose
Right.
this, and has continued to choose this every time she basically displays her dislike of wind music being played in the
fact,
house.
She's been the biggest obstacle for Kumiko when it came to her own playing, more so than the parents or anything like that. Yeah,
She wouldn't let her practice at the house and stuff like that.
it's the pain that is done to one person, they then internalize it and then pass it on to someone else.
Right. So in this situation here, the fact that we then see that Kumiko really does kind of still see her as maybe her hero, or as like her fallen hero, you know?
Yeah.
I really wonder, I really wonder how much redemption actually could be possible if they just started playing together.
I think a lot.
Because I really think it's a lot. Like, I mean, not just a tiny amount, like where it's just like, this is going to take some time. It's going to be like those subconscious tears will just start falling down from Kumiko. And she's just like, why am I crying? I don't get it. You know, because Kumiko has always been the, you know, kind of like, I don't understand my own feelings kind of character. But I think this would be one of those moments where
well,
everything could change. Like,
I've also been taught that no one really wants to see my emotions, maybe, you know? Like, because... I mean, I feel like this would get into a whole other discussion, but when you go through puberty and all that stuff, right, there's the whole idea that whatever safety you had in the home or things like that, right, you're going out into society, and other people, they're not your parents or whatever, right? Like, you know, they can very much look at you and be like, nah, you're lame, you're, you know, whatever, right?
Sure.
So Kumiko's whole thing of keeping to herself is kind of like okay, well, I'll just sort of blend in, not stand out too much or anything like that.
Right.
And then with characters like Asuka and Reina, they stand out so much to her that she's entranced by them, right? Like they become her heroes in a lot of ways, right? Because she didn't really have one up till then, right?
Well, she did. It's just she had to let go of him.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that thing of the repressed emotions part of it, and that's where she kind of accidentally keeps blurting out what she's feeling or thinking at times, is because she's not good at it.
Right. Well, and I feel like that's also where the whole realization about her loving to play the youth came from in season 1, right? Because...
As opposed to it just being decided for her?
Right, because it was something that was originally decided for her, but then there came a point where it's like, okay, she kept playing it, but she didn't really allow herself to enjoy it, I feel like. And then when all of a sudden it's going to be taken away from her, then she's like, no, I want to play.
Yeah, I think there's two really good simple explanations for this. Is one, that I think she loved playing the youth all the way through because it was the thing that connected with her sister.
Sure, okay.
And thus it didn't matter whether she was playing the trombone or the youth, because it was just, oh, we'll eventually get to play together. She loses her passion for it in the same way, in that she gets scorned by her sister, and her sister also quits. But getting to actually hold on to that thing that she's like, I haven't gotten closure from this yet. I really do need to play this because it still makes me feel like that feeling that I had when I was younger.
Even though she was in resistance of that at the beginning of the show and didn't want to play the youth, because she always played the youth, and maybe because there were other emotions associated with the youth. But then, well, she's forced into it again, and then this time she kind of looks it square in the eye. Eventually.
So Asuka being the one that gets the character focus of the class, but we're kind of basically having this all be about Kumiko's family.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
That tutoring session is going to be awesome. There's going to be conversations that are had there.
Okay, so Asuka's house.
Yes. Oh, that's.
Is she going to be like mega rich?
No, I don't think so.
No. Really?
I think there's a possibility that she's. Okay, her mom looked like she is able to make a comfortable life for Asuka and herself. Right? But I'm, like, assuming, almost guaranteed, if it turns out that, like, her, like, Asuka actually has both parents still, like they're in her life. Like,
no. We there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
She's literally made a point about how, like, I raised you. Like.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Come on.
Right. Yeah. So I think.
Oh, I think I think it's going to be one of the situations she's like, whoa. Like that's my guess.
I could see that. I could see that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, do you not think so? You think?
Well, no. I
think
like not like okay. It's not going to be like estate kind of a thing, right? It's like upper middle class for sure. You know.
Right, but that can be a lot though.
Okay.
Like upper middle class is very well to do compared to where Kumiko situation is that she's in a very tight living situation with regards to the neighbors.
The tension of paying for college was a big pressure on the parents.
Huge pressure.
Hence they didn't handle it the best way, so hence this whole conflict in situation.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was kind of hoping would be inferred. Through that when I was discussing that in the beginning.
We slaved away to make sure that we could actually pay for you to do this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And hence why we also want to make sure that we're paying for you to do something worthwhile.
Or
you
just at the very least that you'll use it.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, not just some, here's a slip of paper, have fun, go work at McDonald's, you know?
Right, because in a lot of ways that's why I think the parents are being realistic here, is that they don't need the money. Like think about it. They don't, like this is one of the things that I feel like as kids you don't really understand about your parents really, is that when it comes down to it, the time and effort and energy and all that they spend on you, like that's the emotional love and care that gets mistranslated. But when it's money, like that's just another form of all that stuff.
Sure.
It's just a vehicle for it. But if they then basically told, no, keep your gift, keep your money, I don't need it. They're like, it means nothing to me other than that it's being given to you. Let me use this time, effort, energy, and stuff that I give in there so that I can make your life a little bit better. That's a very mature, I would say, version. I don't think to these parents.
These parents are not at that level of maturity.
Right. But that's why I know that's why I know this situation is that I've seen it where it's like the parents are then able to give a small check to the oldest, daughter or son or whatever, and they're just like, here, this is all we can give you.
They're able to pay for Mamiko's college. They probably aren't necessarily going to be able to pay for Kumiko's. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, that kind of thing. But anyway.
Oh, boy. Yeah. I want Kumiko to meet Asuka's mom at the home. Because...
But she said she's specifically doing it so that she won't be there.
Yeah. But that's the only way that Asuka would actually let it happen. But I think Asuka deep down wants Kumiko to go there so that she can talk to her, right?
That would be interesting.
And
but
not necessarily to her mom,
just being even more of a fly in the wall than Reina, just be like,
sure, right? But at the very least, it's a subtle cry for help, right? It's a disguised cry for help from Asuka, right? So I'm hoping that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. Info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.